Diana here. Welcome to Sew Learn Create. If you like our channel, be sure you subscribe and click like if you like this video. Today's project is a hot pad pouch. It has a button closure. It has bags inside to hold all your items. They're quick and easy to make. So let's get started. For the hot pad pouch, you'll need the following supplies. You'll need a hot pad, and make sure it has a loop at one side so you can fold it over and use that as your closure. I get mine at Dollar Tree and they come two a pack. You'll need some snack size baggies, and I like the they need to be 6 5/8 by 3 1/4 inch. That's the best size, and you'll need 4 of those. You'll need some fabric scraps to add a decoration to the front of your pouch. You'll need a button for your closure, and then you'll need some clips of some kind for when you put the project together. Either these sewing clips, or you can use either a binder clip or even a clothespin will work. And you'll also need some small pieces of just regular Scotch tape. So to get started, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our hot pad and we're going to just cut this tag off because we don't really need that tag. I'm going to get rid of that. Then we're going to fold our hot pad in half and we're going to clip it. And we're clipping right now just so we can position our fabric that we're going to add as our decoration. On my sample, I did 2 long pieces of fabric that were the same length, and then one was just more narrow than the other. So I'm going to do something similar on this one. I'm going to put my red fabric as my base, and then I'm going to trim this one down to where it fits and I have a little room on each end. And you can decorate the front of your pouch however you like. This is where it adds a little bit of fun. So we're going to cut. We're going to take this one. And when we go to the machine, we're just going to stitch all the way around the red and then all the way around this turquoise blue. And make sure that it's on the front side of your hot pad and your button loop comes over the top. So let's go to the machine. Now we're going to secure our fabric to the front of our hot pad. And I've secured it with some pins just to hold it in place while I stitch. I'm going to stitch this inner piece first, and then I'll come back and stitch the outside fabric. So when I want to do a straight stitch, I don't want to start in the corner. I want to start on one of the long sides, and that just is a little bit easier and makes it look nicer. So I'm going to start with take my pin out. Set my machine for a straight stitch. And roll my needle down into my fabric. And we're just going to stitch all the way around this blue. When I come to the corner, I'm going to leave my needle down inside my fabric, lift my presser foot, and turn and continue. And I'm going to do that on every corner. Come back to where I started, turn, and go back over that beginning stitches just a little bit. Clip my threads. Now I've got that in place. Now I'm going to come back and stitch the red fabric down just so it will lay a little better. Start with my needle down and whoops, drop your presser foot. pretty close to that outside edge when I stitch. That way it'll fray over time, which will be fine. It won't go past that stitch line. Lift and turn my corner. And go back over those beginning stitches to lock them in place. Now we've added our decoration, we'll go back to the mat and get ready to add our baggies. Now we're ready to add our baggies. So we're going to take our pot holder and we're going to flip it over to the back side. And I'm going to turn it to where my loop is on my right. I'm going to take my first bag and I'm going to lay it down with the ziplock part on the outside edge. I'm going to take a second baggie and I'm going to lay it overlapping the first on the other outside edge. And I'm going to put just a little piece of Scotch tape right here to just hold those together. Then I'm going to take my second set of bags and I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to put one on the left, lining up the outside edge, one on the right, and I'm going to put a couple of pieces of tape just to hold those together in the middle. Now I've got two bag units on my pot holder on the inside. This is where your clips come in. I'm going to take my clips and I'm going to clip those bags at the top, and I'm clipping them all the way to my pot holder, and I'm going to clip them at the bottom. And you want to clip them kind of to the outside edge, because when we go to the machine, we're going to zigzag right down the center to secure those bags to our pot holder. So let's go to the machine. Now we need to set up our machine to do a zigzag stitch. So somewhere on your machine you should be able to select the different stitches your machine will do. And my zigzag is right here. So I turn the knob and now I can see my red light is underneath my zigzag. The other thing you need to do when you set your zigzag stitch is you need to change the stitch width. For a straight stitch, it's usually a 0 or 1 depending on your machine, but your zigzag is the width that your machine goes back and forth across. So for this one, I'm going to set it to about a 4, so that when it goes back and forth across the machine, when it stitches, it'll go to a 4. Your widest would be a 6, so I'm going to use a 4, and that will work pretty well for what we need to do. Now we're going to zigzag straight down the middle of our pot holder and secure our baggies. The edge of the pot holder is a little thick, so I want to start just off that edge, and then we're going to stitch, come back around, so we will catch that. But it's easier for the machine if you start off of that bulky edge. And I always like to start with my needle down in my project. And we're going to zigzag. All the way down. When we get to this edge, I'm going to start with my needle down. I'm going to lift my presser foot. I'm going to turn my project all the way around, and we're going to stitch right back over those same stitches where we just finished. And when we come to this edge, we're going to go just a little past where we started, and then I'm going to back stitch just a little bit and stitch all the way off the edge. Only a couple more things. We'll go back to the mat to finish. Now we've stitched and we've secured our bags to our pot holder. So you can take your clips off. and you can remove this Scotch tape. Sometimes that can be a little tricky. That's why I used little pieces. There we go. Okay, now our bags are stitched in and they're secure. So the only thing we have left to do is fold our pot holder in half, and then we have to add a button so that we can close our pouch. So we're gonna line our button up here, we're gonna fold our loop over, and our button is gonna go pretty close to that top edge. And you can use a flat button like this, or on my original sample, I used a shank button, one that has the big loop on the back, and either kind of button will work. So we're gonna come up from the back, going through all the layers of our pot holder, and we're gonna go down, and then back up from the back, and secure our button. Anytime you're sewing on a button, wherever your thread is, if it's on the back side of your project, that's where your needle comes from. So my thread is on the back, my needle comes from the back. Now my thread is on the top, so my needle has to come from the top. If you try to go from the back, then you're crossing over and you'll have to take it out and start all over. So now our button is secure. And I like to tie my buttons off is I take a little tiny stitch, I pull my thread, and I put my needle through that loop, and I pull. And I do that at least 2 times to tie my button off. Pull it up, find my loop, put my needle through the loop, and pull. Now we have our button, and we just pull our loop over, and we can button our pouch. The first pouch I made one, and I used it as a first aid kit. Actually, one of my students made this one, and this is our first aid kit for our classrooms. So in one of them we have some towelettes, we have band-aids of different sizes in the other bags, and it's nice and handy, and it has everything we need for first aid. The other idea I had was you could use it and hold stuff for your purse, your chapstick, your nail files, a couple of band-aids, drop this in your purse or your backpack, and you have your essentials. So I hope you liked today's project. I hope you liked today's project, the Hot Pad Pouch. Leave a comment below on how you would use your pouch and what you would put in it. See you in the next one.